Starting the stream. Are we live? Looks like we are. Alright, we are live. Thank you everybody for coming on today. My name is Dino Floor, otherwise known as Turbo J. Today we're going to be doing our first run at Mindistry. This is a game I've been playing a bit on my off time, and I have been loving it. Right now, I'm just kind of trying to get into the hang of it. What I'm going to go ahead and do is, I'm going to start playing from where I'm already at in the campaign. As soon as we get on there, I'll go through a basic explanation of kind of how the game works, but in general, I think that this probably won't be super useful to people who are new to Mindistry. I mean, if you just want to listen to it or watch it for enjoyment, that's fine. But I'm not going to be going through a lot of early game things in the campaign. I'm already, I think I'm about mid campaign right now, so kind of like mid game. So yeah, so stick around. You'll get to learn a little bit, and then maybe at some point we can do some stuff that's a little bit more in depth. In case anybody's wondering, I am playing this on my iPad, and I'm connecting it over to my computer because that's where my main save is. At some point, maybe I'll be able to transfer that save over to my computer, or maybe I'll be able to just start a fresh save with you guys. Depends on how good of a reaction we get from it. So let me know what you guys think of Mindistry. Let me know if there's any other kinds of games you think would be great to play on stream, or that you'd find interesting to see or hear about, or kind of get my reaction to. But with that, let's head into the campaign. So, just as an overview for the campaign mode, especially for anybody who hasn't played Mindistry, basically you start on this little planet. You start at ground zero, which I believe is right here. Ground zero. You start here. And what you do is, the goal of the campaign mode specifically is to take over the whole planet. You're supposed to take every single one of these little hexagons, and you're supposed to just take over the planet. That's your job. You're like you're an industrial robot, is I think kind of the idea of the game. So we're going to go ahead and go over to Sector 175. And then this was my first large-scale factory. Probably looks a little overwhelming at first, especially if you're not really sure what you're looking at. 1 second. Just double checking something on the stream on my end, guys. Give me 1 second. Alright, perfect. I think we're good. Just a heads up, I know it might look a little strange on the stream. Hopefully you guys are able to see it close enough to be able to see things. I had to adjust some of the properties to try to make things look better. I'm just looking on my phone to see how the stream looks, and it looks a little dark. In 1 second, I'm going to see if I can fix this. It's default, okay. And transition. Alright, hopefully that'll fix it. My goal is to make it so you guys can see things a little more clearly. Alright, yeah, that looks a little better. It's not quite as... colors aren't quite as nice, but at least everything's more clear. Alright, so, basically we have our little guys right here. This guy right here in the center, that's our core. What he does is, he is the center of our world, so to speak. That's where our little robot man gets made from every time he respawns. But additionally, it's also where all of our resources are made. And its third function is, it's also our HP center, more or less. So if the core gets destroyed while we are in PvP, or while we are in a fight against just autonomous drones, if the core is destroyed, then we lose. So if anybody's ever played something like Clash Royale, this is like your town hall or your city center, or any games that are like Clash of Clans or Clash Royale or what have you. So that's the basic there. Then you have all these different resources. So you're going to see a list of about, let's see, that's 3, 6, 9, 12, 14 resources that are inside the core right now. Each of those is used to make specific things. So, as an example, the first one is copper. Copper is used for a lot of early game things, such as early game turrets like the Duo. It's also used for a copper conveyor belt, or things like junctions and routers. Now that we're going through this, maybe it'll make a little more sense, kind of like how the crafting works and things, but each item is used for a specific kind of construction of items, or it's used as a recipe for making specific items, or it's used as fuel or as ammo for weapons, or for specific power generation, or for whatever. So it's used for a lot of things, each of them. And each of them have different properties, and each of them have different little factories that you use to make them. Some of them are easier than others. So this was my first factory. Anybody who plays Mindistry, for your benefit, I'll kind of explain a few things. So I have on this one, down here, I have logic centers, logic processors, and I've been using those to link to things up here to stop things from running when whenever my, what's it called now? They changed the name because I upgraded it. My foundation. Whenever my foundation core gets full, I have the logic set up so that it'll just stop everything, but it doesn't stop it like right next to the core. What I did was I had it stop it here instead. That way I'm able to just kind of mess around with the routing from these down here to that up there. Because I was having some issues with that, so I went ahead and just made the decision. And I have tons of battery power, and if you're curious, this is what the power looks like, the power situation. Plus 4.2K, and I have 5.4 million saved up. So like I said, this was the first one. This is Sector 175. Right now, my primary base is over here at Salt Flats. And Minimap. I keep forgetting the Minimap is a thing. I finally got it turned on inside my tablet. So I've forgotten that it's a thing. So this is more or less what mine looks like. Anything that's yellow on here, for reference for everybody, is something that I built, or is one of my little robots, as opposed to anything else. So, for example, this black bit right over here, that is coal. And then anything that's brown over here, in the middle, that's sand. Light brown, that's copper. And then purple, that's going to be the lead, and so on. There's a couple scattered things. And so this is my core right here. I have robots going around and mining for me. And then I have this monstrosity. Anybody who's played Mindistry, you probably hate me with a passion right now. Please don't. I was having a hard time figuring out how to do it. And if anybody has a better idea, I'm actually very open to it, because it is extremely janky and it doesn't work as well as I'd prefer it to. So please, give me some ideas. You can at me in the Mindistry Discord if you happen to be on there. I am there myself. So yeah. So if I start doing Mindistry content more consistently, something I want to do is start making designs for things like factories that are easy to understand. I'll go into like the Mindistry Discord, and they have these amazing, like, hyper efficient designs for things, and they're great designs, but I can't understand how they work, and they're not well marked to be able to understand, like, where's the input for this, where's the output for this. I just can't understand them. And if we're being honest, the Mindistry Discord is just a little bit toxic. And I had a fun conversation with a couple of people on the Mindistry Discord about this. And when I say toxic, they'll say mean things, and a lot of the time they don't say it just for the sake of being mean. Sometimes they're just being bluntly honest. Like, I showed them one of my designs, and they're like, that's terrible. They didn't tell me why, but as I started getting further into the campaign portion of the game, I realized they were actually right. What I was doing just was not working as well as it could be. So, as I'm learning campaign, and I'm just learning how to do it, learning the, like, server PvP modes, of the built-in servers. It's been interesting to kind of see different people's play styles, different people's designs. Anybody who's new to Mindistry, there's a cool feature called schematics. So what you can do is you can select portions of your map, and you're able to turn them into what's called schematic. The schematic can be copied and pasted anywhere you go. So you make the schematic, you can use that schematic in campaign mode, you can do it on online servers, you can do it in custom games, you can do it anywhere that this device is playing Mindistry. One thing to note about that is you can also download other people's schematics, or you can turn your schematic into a shareable file that can be given to other people, and they can start using that design. And it's also well integrated into Discord. The person who has been developing this game did a great job making the files readable, at least in the Mindistry Discord. Makes it really easy to be able to see what kind of schematics you're downloading. And I think that was one of the things that is really drawing me into Mindistry, is the ability to do schematics. I would hate having to build everything from scratch. It's been great. I have all sorts of things that I've been working on, but a couple of these I didn't make. There are a few of them I did, and there are a few that I didn't. And some of them I just wouldn't even recommend. I just kind of still have them. Anyway, so right now this is a sector that was already captured. Today we're going to try our best to capture a sector. It shouldn't be too hard. I still have some easy sectors that we can head into. Hopefully it won't be too crazy. Maybe it'll be kind of like an introduction to the game to anybody who hasn't ever played before. And, you know, that's fine. Yeah, so let's get into it. I think we're going to be launching from right here at Salt Flats. I just need to make sure I have everything I need. And it looks like for the most part we're good. So we're going to launch somewhere. Now, one frustrating thing about trying to take over this map in campaign mode is there are specific areas called, I think they're called launch zones. So as an example, this one right here, Impact 0078, is a launch sector. So Impact 0078 is the only sector that I can send resources to launch an attack on any of these other two red ones. And that's frustrating because Impact 78 does not have as many materials as my other sectors comparatively. I've been working on Salt Flats, I've been working on 175 for a while now. I've been building infrastructure, and those ones are well prepared to be able to take on other sectors. I just got 78, and 78 is still actively being attacked. I have to defend it right now, and it's getting a little annoying, but it is what it is. So I think today, see, this is another one. So 97 is where I have to launch from in order to go to 37, which is terribly annoying. So let's go back to 175 real quick. I'm hoping that if I go to 175, I'll be able to launch down here. No, it's making me launch from 174. What if I launch here? Or here? No. How about here? It'll let me launch there. Cool. So this is a medium threat. No, I want to launch from 175. It'll only let me launch from here. Seriously? 219. Well, you know what? Let's do it. Let's launch over to 64. Why is it not letting me launch? Oh, because I don't have anything. That's annoying. Alright, let's go back to Salt Flats. Where can we launch to from Salt Flats? We can't launch to anywhere from Salt Flats. Interesting. So, and this is me partly just kind of learning how Mindistry works, because I haven't had to leave a lot of my sectors so far. So it looks like you can only attack from directly next to you unless you're going to a launch sector. So let's do this. Let's launch from Salt Flats over to one that I haven't taken. Yes, that one or this one. Let's take Overgrowth. Have I ever done Overgrowth before? Coastline. Let's take Coastline. We're going to go from Salt Flats to Coastline. And let's see what we can do with that. Alright, I think we're good. Alright, off we go. We're off to Coastline. Alright, now, we're going to go ahead and pause the game up here. So, this is the map we're working with. Somewhere on this map is the launch zone for the enemies that are going to be trying to attack us. So, I don't know if it's in like the bottom right-hand corner, bottom left, top right. I'm going to have to go look for it. Once we find it, we have to make a plan of defense. Now, thankfully, we only have a single inn on this little peninsula that we have. So we just need to kind of defend it on the right. That being said, however, the fact that there is water going all the way up to my core signals to me that it's probably going to be a naval attack as opposed to an aerial attack or a land assault. So we're going to have to make sure that we prepare for that. Now, like I said, right now, this specific save file is in mid-game, meaning that I have a lot of things that somebody starting out probably wouldn't have, as far as weapons, as far as drones, as far as defense, and like conveyors and item-moving things, so transportation. So we're going to go ahead and push play. It allows our timer to keep going. Once that timer goes all the way down, we have to fight the robots. Let's see. And right now we're looking for a warning saying that we're too close. That way we can figure out where they're going to launch from. And there it is. Drop point. Leave drop point immediately, annihilation imminent. So it's right there. Bottom right. So let's head back up and prepare, because bottom right, we are almost definitely going to be getting naval. And naval units are going to be able to get right up next to our core. So, we need to prepare. Now, we can pause. Whenever we pause, we're able to kind of come up with a plan. We can pre-build things. Meaning, while we're paused, I can make this. That is not a functional conveyor belt, but the plan is there. So it's kind of like accelerated thinking in a sense. And then, as soon as we push play, the little drone makes everything for us. And then we can just delete this, because we're probably not going to need it. So we're going to pause again. So we're going to come up with a plan of attack. The first thing that I would do, in my opinion, is set up a firearm that will be able to protect us. So, because this is a tower defense game as well. So this is a game that's similar to something like Factorio or Satisfactory, but it's also a game like a tower defense game, kind of like Bloons TD. Like Bloons TD 5, Bloons TD 6, or any tower defense game that you can think of. The idea is to protect your core or the end of your line from enemies. So, we're going to look at that. So let's go with something that is a little simple. We're going to start with duos, which are these guys. We're going to set up a bunch of them. And then we're going to set up routers to each of them. And then we're going to set up a conveyor over to the routers. And then we're going to set it. Now we're going to go over here and grab some drills. These drills are going to be helping us get our resources that we need. And this should be enough for now. We're specifically making sure that we have enough copper to power our duos. Thankfully, duos don't take actual power, they just need ammunition. So we'll let that load, and then I'm going to kind of explain how some of the conveyors and the routers work. So as you can see right here, there is copper just popping out of these drills, because these drills are mining copper, like that. Oh, nope. It's right there. That's copper. And looks like we're doing good. So, right now we have the titanium conveyors. Titanium conveyors are just going to move items from one place to the other. Now, the thing that is next to the duos is called a router. So what happens is the router takes a single input and then splits that input into up to 3 directions. So if you look at the arrows that are on there. So it goes in the left and goes out the top, right, and bottom. So the nice thing about that is you can chain routers together and they will just start sending items to each of those towers or to each of the conveyors, whatever is connected to them. So this group of duos should be enough to start protecting us from any of the waves that are coming our way. And I say waves, it's kind of ironic because it's going to be a whole bunch of naval vessels, which are ships, which have to do with water. So that was a water pun. I apologize. Now there's a whole bunch of other items here. We have the junction. The junction is very nice. It makes it so that you can have 2 conveyor belts cross over each other. So let's get rid of this. And then let's say you have a conveyor going this way. You have a happy little conveyor. It's just going one direction. It doesn't want to mess with anybody. But you have another conveyor that's coming up here. Now, if you were to have them cross over each other, you're going to have to figure out which one wins. Right? Because you're going to be crossing over. Come on. You're crossing over, and it doesn't know which one to kind of prioritize, because now it's acting all weird. So what you can do is you can use the junction. The junction goes right in between them and makes it so that they're able to cross over completely seamlessly. So now the horizontal belt is going to be going from left to right with no interruptions, and the belt that's going vertically is going from bottom to top seamlessly with no problems. It's not interacting with the other belt at all. So that's very useful. There's also the bridge conveyor, which makes it so you can just go over things. And then just continue. It's definitely less convenient, but it's more well suited to things like buildings that you have to go over or around. So as an example, that if for some reason you had to go over a drill, you can use the bridge conveyor to do that. It's very useful. And then you have a couple more things that are a little more advanced, like the inverted sorter, the overflow gate, and the underflow gate, as well as the mass driver, Plastium belts, armored conveyor belts. I wouldn't worry about those too much right now. Probably not going to be using them all that much, at least for the time being. And then it looks like there's one enemy on his way. There he is. Based on the shape, I'm going to say that definitely looks like a boat. And then he's on his way to us. So let's go over and we'll keep an eye out for him. Watch for him. Here he comes. Look at the mini-map. And he's toast. Good job, everybody. Alright. So now we're preparing for Wave 2. Wave 2 is going to be coming from the exact same place. No difference whatsoever. But now we need to figure out what to do as far as protecting ourselves. We have 30 waves that we're going to have to defend ourselves against. And we need to figure out what is the best way of doing that. My opinion is we're going to need power, because there are a lot of factories that we have to use, all the mixers, presses, weavers, crucibles, smelters, everything. They all require power. So power is probably going to be our friend right now. So let's get power moving. Now, thankfully, I have this really handy schematic that is able to make us enough power to get us started. I call this the Impact Cold Start Module. Now, the Impact Cold Start module, its entire job is to get everything kind of booted up and prepared for a power reactor called an impact. And that would be this guy right here. An impact reactor is great. The problem is you have to put a lot of power into it before it's able to start. So it is better suited for once you have infrastructure put down and you need a large amount of power. So if you come down into the area that says power, it says power use 1,500 power units per second. So it takes 1,500 power units per second just to operate it. However, it's able to generate 7,800 power units per second. So that gives you an actual net positive power output of 6,200, if my math is correct. 6,200 power units per second. Now, if you've never played Mindistry and you don't have any way of knowing, is that a lot? Is that not a lot? Let me show you the alternatives. The other alternatives to generating power are the combustion generator, which just takes coal. You just send in one little piece of coal and it generates power at a maximum. You look at the power, base power generation, 60 power units per second. So this block, which is a 1x1 block, generates 60 power. Now that is also opposed to the thermal generator. Thermal generator is able to make a base power of 108 power units per second. And it is a 2x2 generator. But the thermal generator only works on specific maps. So I can't even use it just wherever I want to. That would be too easy. There's some maps that have things like lava. Then we have the steam generator. Steam generator requires water because you have to have steam to have water to have steam, but it also requires coal, a spore pod, blast compound, or pyrite. For all intents and purposes, coal or spore pods are probably going to work best most of the time. And it makes 330 power units per second. So we're still at 330 for a 2x2. This is a perfectly respectable amount of power if you happen to have easy access to water. If you don't, it doesn't make things very simple. Then we move on to the differential generator. Me personally, this is my favorite power generator. I think that it is very balanced in general. You come into here, it is a 3x3 generator, so it's much larger than both the 1x1 and 2x2 generators, but it is able to make 1,080 power units per second. And all it needs is pyrite, and it has to be pyrite, and cryofluid. Cryofluid has to be made with water and titanium. So it actually takes 3 different items and just makes power for you. And that's 1,080, which is at least triple any of the other ones that we've seen so far, aside from the impact generator. And then we have the RTG generator, which takes different types of what are called nuclear or radioactive items, such as thorium or phase fabric, but I've never understood why people like it. It only generates 270 power, but it takes thorium or phase fabric, which so far in my playthrough have been very scarce. I haven't been able to get enough of it in my playthrough, so I don't understand why people would want to use an RTG generator, but that's their call. There's also the thorium reactor, which also uses thorium for some reason, but it makes 900 power units per second. Now that's not bad. That's understandable that people would like it. The only thing about this is if you don't get the cryofluid in there consistently and you don't have it powered off, it will actually explode into what is the equivalent of a nuclear meltdown. So yes, it makes 900 base power, which is also a little less than triple what things like the steam generator are able to do, but it's also extremely unstable. So for that reason, I don't like the thorium reactor personally. And then the last couple are the solar panel, which only requires you to just connect it to your grid, which is very nice, but it only makes 6 power units per second per solar panel. And there's also the large solar panel, which is able to make 78 power units per second, but it's also 3x3. So it's a little bit of a trade-off. The large solar panel is much nicer. However, it also takes phase fabric, which is a very late game item. Not really a very late game item, but it's like a late mid-game item. It comes late in the mid-game. So, yeah. And then impact. Now, this is the one that I use the most because I find it to be able to make the most power for I'll say the least amount of preparing, I'll say. Like, it is a little annoying to get running, and sometimes, depending on the map, it can be hard to keep it running. So the impact reactor, we talked about it a little bit a second ago, but it's a little annoying because if it doesn't have any power to get it kickstarted, then it just doesn't turn on. But once it's turned on, it'll stay on, unless you run out of the things down here, the input-output section. If it runs out of blast compound or cryo fluid at any time, it'll just shut down. And it itself makes 7,800 power units per second, which is at least an order of magnitude higher than everything else. And this is a 4x4 reactor. So it is also much larger than any of the other ones, but it is able to do a lot. I mean, a lot more than the rest of them, assuming that you're able to keep it running. And that's been my trouble so far with the impact reactor. So what I started trying to do was make some schematics that are kind of modular, where I can have a couple differential generators that are getting a battery charged up so that I can power an impact reactor and get everything just kind of supercharged all at once. And then, once I get that set up, I'm able to link more of the modules for the impact reactors, making it so that we just basically have it's not really infinite, but like a largely scalable version. The problem is each of those modules are about this big for a desert version. Now what we can do is we can come over here and we can remove this portion of it. And that makes it much smaller. We actually have to cancel this whole thing because that would not have ended well. I kind of put it inside part of a cliff. If you know anything about phasing, that is just not good. So let's move you right here. I think that should do it. Yes, that should be fine. So we're going to set this here, and we're going to start our power generation right behind our base. Hopefully that'll be good. I'm going to take a drink of water real quick. I want to get a camera eventually, but right now it just doesn't seem to be really worth it for the stream. I kind of want to make sure that we have enough people to make a face reveal worth it, if you know what I mean. Oh, I love water. Alright, so now we're going to build it. Now it's going to take a hot second. And while our little drone is building away, we're going to get some more stuff set up. So we're going to do this, this, and this. Get you prepped. And then we're going to send you here, send you there. And just keep going. We're going to get everything prepared for when the drone is done building. We only have 40 seconds left. But thankfully, because we have the duos already doing things for us, when the next wave comes, we should be safe. It's going to take a few minutes to kind of get this finished. One thing that you can do is you can build little drones that are able to help you build things faster. The issue is it takes power to build them. So it's kind of like a catch-22, where in order to build faster, I need drones. But in order to get drones, I have to make the initial power station. So, yeah, it makes things kind of frustrating to get started, but once they do get started, you're usually good. Now, we're going to pause, and we're going to start getting things set up. So on the left, you're going to see these sorters. I have them set up so that I can label exactly which one is supposed to go where, because believe it or not, it does matter which one goes where as it's going into the factory. The coal is being split between two coal reactors, or combustion reactors, and then the pyrite mixer. It's being split between those two things. So they need to make sure that they're going the right direction. And the titanium, the blue one down at the bottom, that one is being sent up to the cryofluid mixer. And that cryofluid mixer is being sent over to these differential generators. And if you remember, the differential generators require pyrite and cryofluid. So this would be easier with a mouse cursor, I suppose. This pyrite mixer, this pyrite mixer right here has to have everything. Then it sends its pyrite up to the differential generators. And the differential generators take in that pyrite along with the cryofluid from the cryofluid mixer and make power. Then this battery up here at the top is going to be using the power that's being sent out from the differential generators, and it's going to start storing it up so that when we hook up the impact reactor, it just runs. Ideally. Now, one thing is up here at the top, we have the liquid routers. Those require us to have water sent to them, and then those liquid routers get sent down to the cryofluid mixer. So the next step before we can go any further is we need to make sure that we have water going in there. Now, normally there's a thing that I have called the Impact Desert Module. Now, this Impact Desert Module goes on the top of any of the modules that I've been making for the impact reactors, and they just give you water. So those are basically, each of those little blue squares on the left, each of those help you drill for water, more or less. Or just kind of like, if it helps you think about it, it's kind of like pulling moisture out of the air. Moisture farmers, kind of like Luke Skywalker from Star Wars. Like his family, they were moisture farmers. Their whole job was taking moisture out of the air. Sounds like a fun job. But anyway, we're not going to need this because we have ample water right over here next to our core. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab a water pump. We're going to go with a rotary pump. It doesn't need to be huge. So we're going to go with a rotary pump, and then we're going to send it up here. Send it left. Send it up. Send it up, and send it over. Set that. And then we're also going to get this one set to sand, get this one set to lead, get this one set to coal, and get this one set to titanium. Then we use titanium conveyors going from right to left. And in case you're wondering why titanium belts specifically, it's because they're faster. Copper belts, or just conveyors, are much slower than titanium conveyors. Titanium conveyors and armored conveyors go the same speed, and then platinum conveyors are just weird. They're extremely useful, but they're a little hard to explain, so we're probably not going to use them at all through this playthrough today, so I wouldn't even worry about it if you're just kind of enjoying the show. So let's get that set up, and then we'll get power over to that rotary pump, and it'll take a second for that power to kind of kick in. Alright, you can see the combustion generators are running. That's good. Now the combustion generators, oh, what was that? They made it somehow. That's concerning. Alright. Rotary pump is working. It's pulling it in. And the differential generators are not running yet. What's going on with the pyrite mixer? Oh, it's sending. Good. We got green lights. Good. So differential generators are now charging the battery. It's at 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 42, 43. Good. All right, we have enough power. Now let's build some friends that are going to be able to help us as we're battling. So we're going to finally be able to build my favorite robots ever. Let's build that. 1, 2, 3. Pause again. We're going to go silicon, lead, and graphite. And then I'm going to do an underflow gate. An underflow gate, what it does is, let's say you have an item that's traveling up. The underflow gate will say, well, I can send out left, I can send out right, or I can continue sending straight. So the underflow gate, what it does is it decides that it should go left or right first, and then if either of those choices are full, like if they get backed up, then it sends forward. So that's what an underflow gate does, and that's as opposed to an overflow gate. The overflow gate says that it's going to send up first, and then if it has extra or it gets backed up, it'll start sending out to the right or to the left. So that's the difference between those two things. So what we're going to do is we're going to put underflow gates, an underflow gate right there, and a junction so that things are able to pass through each other. And then we're also going to set up an underflow gate next to the lead, or up from the lead. And we're going to set junctions on either side. Then we're going to set up an air factory. The air factory is just a place where you're able to build your flying spaceships. They're very cool. And they're going to start producing, once they're built, and I select it, they're going to start building what's called a mono. The mono normally is just a device or a vehicle that will start mining things for you automatically and start sending those things directly to your core. What we're going to do is we're not going to use monos right this second. What we're going to do is we're going to also add this. It's called an additive constructor. And it's going to upgrade the monos into something that is a bit more potent. They're going to be able to follow me around, help me with building. They'll be able to repair buildings, and they'll be able to rebuild any buildings that are destroyed. They're extraordinarily useful. They'll also be able to fight enemies alongside me. So they're just kind of like my buddies. I love my guys. So we're going to set this up properly. So we're going to set another underflow gate here, because each of these also needs silicon. We're going to set an underflow gate there because they're going to need graphite. And then we're going to fill all that in. Once we do that, and we hit play, everything's going to get built. And then ideally, these will be finished before any of the monos are done being built. Finish there, build all those. Now each of the upgrade modules are going to be prepared for when each of the monos are done. So we'll just watch those for a second, just so you can kind of see how everything works. So I believe the mono on the right is going to finish first. There he goes, and he's going into the upgrade. He is going to get upgraded into, what's it called again? A poly. Polys are the best. And polys can be upgraded into a mega. Megas are really nice. They're able to build things the same way as a mono, or as a poly. Monos only mine. Polys are able to help with rebuilding things. They can heal things. But the megas are nice because what they can do is pick up small blocks, small ground units, but alongside with that, they're also able to do mining. So all three of them are able to do mining, but the mono can only mine certain things, and then I think the poly can mine the same things as a mono, and then the mega can mine just about everything. I don't think it's 100% everything, but I could be wrong about that. But it's also able to mine. So megas are much nicer, but they're also much more expensive to build and much more time consuming. So I haven't found them to be super worth it unless I just really need a lot of titanium, because they can just mine titanium and bring it back to your core. That's what I do on solid flats. But we're going to just allow these guys to do their thing. They're being upgraded. And there he is, our first little poly. And we're going to hit command, and we're going to tell him, hey, I want you to follow me around. And now we're going to build the primary impact module. We're going to put that there, and then we're also going to grab the impact multi-feed module. I designed all these myself, in case you're wondering, and we'll set those right there. Ooh, what's going on? Oh, air units. That's not good. Oh, cancel, destroy it, destroy them. That's not good. All right. And I'm going to tell the monos to start healing things, because that was not good. But let's have you repair those first. And now repair. So we've been getting a lot of air attacks. I would have assumed that we were going to get a lot of... I would have assumed that we were going to get a lot of water attacks, because we're just so near the water. But they're kind of throwing me off by doing the air attacks. So let's take this from a different perspective. Let's pause. We're going to prepare ourselves in a different way than I was anticipating. So I was going to start getting a lot of power first, but let's go ahead and pivot on that. We're going to set up the Meltdown. Meltdown is one of my favorite turrets. It takes an awful lot of power, 1,020 power units whenever it's charging, and then it also has to have coolant to operate. I just recently realized that coolant also includes water. I thought that I had to constantly put cryo fluid into this thing, and I am just very happy that it runs on water and I can put cryo fluid in there optionally. But it takes a lot of power, but we can afford that right now. The battery is strong enough. We have 2 differential generators running, so we can afford a Meltdown. So we're going to go ahead and set it up right here. That's kind of where all of these drones kind of like hanging out, and then we're going to put water extractors around it. This is probably, actually, now that I think about it, we don't have to do that. We can just set up another rotary pump with 1 line. I've gotten so used to working in the deserts with no water that I have to get used to using rotary pumps again, as opposed to just using the water extractors. Water extractors are extremely useful in places like salt flats. Salt flats is a nightmare to get water flowing, or at least it was until I learned how to use water extractors properly. So we're going to go ahead and keep this moving. Thankfully, I have a bunch of polys that are able to help me. Oh, I just broke it. All right, you guys all help me. And now we're going to continue building. Let's pause that. I have to put everything back because I accidentally hit the wrong button. If anytime you hit the cancel button, it just cancels everything, which makes sense, but it's still frustrating. Something can make sense and also be frustrating, I've found. And that's rather annoying. But now we're good. So now, I believe Meltdown is online. And it is. Meltdown is crazy. It takes an awful lot of power, but it's also able to do, if you go down to function, the function section, it tells you the range, its inaccuracy, its firing rate, and then all the way down at the bottom it says damage per second. It's 936. You get a line of these, and they can take out just about anything. They're very nice. So that should be more than enough to take out anything that we could have an issue with. So let's get the impact running again, because we had to stop building it. So let's get that going, and then let's get the multi-feed module on there, and everything's going to start building. Good. Good, 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 good. All right, now everything's flowing. How are we doing on power in the differential section? Full power. So that means we can afford to connect it up. And now impact is booting up. So it takes a second. Cryo fluid is flowing in. Doesn't have any power output. It's going a little bit. It's taking in some power from the differential section. There it goes. It's almost there. And now it is producing power. It goes through a bit of a time where it has to start making a lot of power, and it takes time to get up to full strength. But once it does, it is the best power generator in the game from my experience. So now we have a net of 5.1, 5.3, 5.4, 5.6, 5.7, 6,000 extra power units per second, and we have 70,000 stored. Now what we can do is we can actually make another impact. And I'm going to do it just for the sake of it, because I know I can do it without having any issues. Let's connect that up there. Let's make another impact module down here. That. Get another primary module in. Get you there. And then let's go ahead and upgrade this to an impulse pump, because we're going to be using a lot more water. Good. Good. And now we should be able to connect everything together. So we'll connect you over here. And then very soon this second impact reactor is going to be going. And we're going to have about an extra 12,000 power to be able to work with and play with. That way we won't run out of anything. Now that we've done that, let's get some batteries. Batteries are going to be super important just in case the impact reactors ever go down for some reason. We want to have as much spare power as we can just in case something happens. They destroy the impact reactors or any kind of negative thing. It could happen. We have no idea. Let's do that. Build a whole bunch of batteries, and those batteries will start storing power. And if the reactors ever go down, everything on the grid will start pulling from those batteries. Now, what's going on? Don't have enough. You don't have enough water flowing, do you? Why is that? You should have plenty. You are fine. You are fine. You are not fine. Our cultivator just does not have enough power, or doesn't have enough water going to it. I'm surprised that an impulse pump isn't enough. Impulse pumps are usually like more than enough for just about anything. But we'll add another rotary pump on there. Maybe that'll help. That could be enough for you? Cultivator is still not getting enough water. Alright, I have an idea. Let's experiment. Let's send you there like that, and you there like that. And then you all the way over. And then you down like this. You all the way down to there. Let's try that out and see if it works. I think it might. And it did. Okay, this is good for me to know. This is good to add into the system. So it becomes water constrained because each of these little liquid routers are not able to send water fast enough, even though the impulse pump is able to pump water fast enough. Oh, Meltdown was having some fun without us. We missed it. Good job, Meltdown. Good job. So we don't even need this extra pump. This should be enough. And now we can take a look. We can see we have plus 11,000 power per second. And we have almost 1 million power stored. We are in a very, very good place right now, power-wise. Now we need to start getting other things ready. Now we're going to have each of the polys follow me. Each of you are going to go with me. Good. All right, so that's a full 24. Uh-oh, impact is under attack. That's not good. Let's check on impact real quick. All right, it survives 10 waves. Good. Now, something that's nice is if something gets attacked, we don't have to go and defend it ourselves. Like, we could even leave this one on its own for a while, and the game has its own way of calculating whether or not it will survive, and it'll actually tell you if it's going to survive or not, which is a very refreshing mechanic in my opinion. I think that that's been very nice. All right, we're going to go ahead and just let this run for a bit. Let's start building up a couple more defenses, because power is really all we need to defend ourselves here. Let's set up... How much of that do we have? We're going to save it. Let's set up some more of these meltdowns. But I'm going to do something interesting, and I'm going to come back over here to Desolate Rift, and I am going to copy a design that I made for my meltdowns over here. So as you can see, on the bottom end, we have a bunch of impulse pumps that are sending water straight up to all of our meltdowns. And then that water is being mixed with titanium to make cryofluid right there. And then that's being sent to the meltdown, and they now have cryofluid, which gives them about double fire rate, I believe, which is very cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to steal this design that I made. It's not like it's terribly interesting, but it's a good starting design. We don't have to use it too much, but we're just going to call it Melt Down. And we're going to add a tag, which is a meltdown turret, which is this one. That way we can find it easy. And then we're going to head back over here where we're fighting. And we're going to start getting this set up. So let's upgrade this to an impulse. And then let's get a couple more meltdowns built. 1, 2. Good. And we'll build like 2. We're out of lead. That's not good. But thankfully, we have our little drones that are grabbing lead for us, which is so nice. I love monos. Like, monos are very annoying because you can't control them directly, like with just the command section of the controls. But you can control them using some in-game logic. Logic is just kind of this system that's inside the game, which is like just programming different things using little logic blocks. Very cute little logic blocks. What else are you missing? Copper. Copper, really? Interesting. So we're going to have to wait a little bit to get some more meltdowns. In the meantime, let's move you over here. No, that's the wrong one. That's a teeny tiny. Let's put you there instead. Good. Still running. Oh, and you can see the monos are grabbing copper. We're going to play this nonstop. This hasn't been a very popular stream. Thank you for anybody who did stop by. I saw a couple people stop by. This hasn't been a very popular stream today. I need to get better at kind of advertising my streams before I do them. Right now, I've been kind of doing my streams like spur of the moment. I'm like, I have a few minutes to be able to stream, and I just kind of do it. So I gotta get better at that. But I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna beat all 30 waves, and then we're just gonna be done. That's kind of my plan at the moment. So we're just gonna kind of blow through them as fast as possible. And then if anybody shows up and wants to see more, by all means, I would love to show you more of this game specifically. So let's set you there, you there, you there, you there. That's right. Feel the water. Be the water. Oh, you don't have any power. That's annoying. Alright, and now we don't need that anymore. We're actually going to remove you as well. And then we're going to set a meltdown here. And we're going to set one there. And we're going to put one of these right here, just to send water over there. We now have 3 meltdowns. We will soon have 3 meltdowns. Come on, monos. We need some copper, please. Good job. Good job. Come on, you're almost there. You're almost there. Good job. All right, now we have 4 meltdowns. Each of those should be strong enough to be able to take out anything that comes its way. But we're going to further reinforce them by putting up this wall. That wall should ideally protect them fairly loosely. Like, plastine walls are very nice. They protect structures from any projectiles, absorb lasers, and electric arcs. Blocks automatic power connections. So they're very nice in the sense that they're able to protect you from electrical attacks. But whenever you set up a power node where you're trying to send power from one place to the other, it makes it very difficult to make those power connections, because it's not just making those power connections automatically like they normally would. Uh-oh, another thing's under attack. Everything's under attack. 40. Okay, we're good. So look at that. They just absolutely melt everything that comes our way. Which is so nice. I love it. I love it. Not gonna lie. Meltdowns are some of my favorite. And then Polys. Repair. And rebuild. Nothing. Good. Now let's give these guys some titanium walls to protect them, because they're doing their best. And then let's also start setting up some lancers. Lancers take power, but they have some very strong attacks. Please tell me they need copper. But they need silicon specifically. Ooh. We are not currently producing any silicon here. Let's cancel. We have plenty. Let's set up some walls for these guys too. And then we need to figure out how to get some more silicon down here. We can produce our own silicon. The only problem that's going to end up happening from that is it's going to be rather slow to start off, unless we can get a full crucible going. So let's go silicon. Silicon times 4 would be perfectly sufficient. Yeah, that would be perfectly sufficient. How many of these do we have left to make? 22? Alright, we'll let them finish those ones. Good. And then we'll just remove all that. And then we're going to build the crucible. Oh, no, not full silicon. That one is just a monstrosity. I've moved on from the design, but I haven't deleted it because I like it a little bit in different ways. Let's get this rolling. Oh, it needs silicon to make those. That's not good. Okay, let's try something. I don't like doing this very often, but actually, that's actually just a late game strategy. What I'm about to do is we are going to just send silicon straight to the core from salt flats. We're going to set up this thing called the launch pad, and we're going to send it to ruinous shores, state mountains. We're going to send it to coastline. We're going to start sending all of the silicon over to coastline. Once it gets there, it'll just go straight into our core, and we can start building things with it. And then we'll have enough. It's going to take a second, though. Waiting for... Oh, there it goes. Now we got to wait for the item cooldown for this one. Waiting. And good. So now that it knows that it's going to be sending, come back over to coastline. And we're good. But it didn't build the ones we really needed. I mean, it'll start sending more and more silicon over time. So I guess we'll just hold still for now give it a second, wait for more silicon to come in. Because as soon as more silicon comes in, it'll finish that portion down at the bottom and it'll start sending things out. In the meantime, I guess we can start hooking this up. We need another one of these. Can you hear the pain in my voice? Good. Okay. Now you are going to be silicon popping out. And you are going to be coming down. And then I'm going to do an armored past. And done. Alright, and now we have silicon production. That's going to scale eventually, but now we have plenty of silicon ideally, as long as we don't run out of, what does it need? Sand, coal, or pyrite. We are probably going to run out of those at some point, but I'm not too worried about it. I feel like we don't really need any of the coal or the sand except for power generation. That could be an issue. We just need enough silicon. Once we get about 2,000 silicon, it should be fine. We could, and this is actually something we probably should do, is set up a sand manufacturing area. All we have to do for that is set this up. Make sure that all of it has power, and it'll start drilling for sand for us. I say drilling for sand, like, can you imagine how hard it would be to drill sand? It would not be hard at all. It's just, oh no, we don't want that. Armored. Armored blocks that. Alternatively, you could also do junctions to block it. Less expensive for sure. So now, we're just not going to run out of sand, which is great. But now, we're going to potentially run out of coal. So, we have to grab coal from somewhere. We can grab it from here, or we can grab it from here. I'm more inclined to grab it from here. So let's set up another air blast drill right there, and then that and that. And then we're going to send this straight through. Can't do that, huh? And I don't have any phase fabric for a phase conveyor, which is the only thing that could reach that far. Well, I guess we're going to have some fun working with the mass driver. For any of my New Hampshire people, no, I'm not talking about a Massachusetts driver. In case you're wondering, people in New Hampshire are not terribly fond of people from Massachusetts. It's not necessarily personal, but it is well known, let's say. Now let's set up a surge tower here and there. And then set this up like that. We're going to connect there, connect there. I'm going to connect to you. And then you are going to be sending to this guy. Good. And then this guy is going to be accepting and sending stuff out in this direction. Good. That's literally a gun that fires the items from one gun to the other, which is very funny, very laughable, but it just works. So we're good there. So now we have plenty of coal and plenty of sand, and those are the only two things that the silicon crucibles are taking that we have to have in order to be able to continue running our power generation. Now, we can just fast forward a little bit. Alright, we have 7 enemies incoming. Where are they at? Alright, a flying enemy and a couple boat enemies. Let's see what happens. And they are just completely annihilated. And then the boat enemies are still on their way, but they will suffer approximately the same fate. Once we see that, we're going to go ahead and just start building our defenses out even more. There's 30, so we're probably going to have, I would say, probably like a 6 out of 10 power level for things. Ooh, we can build more Lancers. And then I'm going to tell some of these polys that their job is to repair. And I'm going to tell these polys that their job is to rebuild. And then everyone else will continue following me around. So those polys are going to be repairing and building, and then the rest of them are just going to help me build things that I want. That way I don't have to think about it. So now we're going to work on getting, I'm going to say probably more meltdowns at this point. They've been working fairly well. So let's build just a few. Just a few. And send it. And then we're going to set the impulse pump here. Send this all the way up there. How's everyone's day? Leave a comment how your day's going. My day's been pretty good. I've been a little bored, if we're being honest. Not a whole lot done. I will say that it has been interesting with the snow up here in the northeast of the Americas. The snow has been kind of fun. Ooh, we're out of graphite. Now I have to make graphite. Seriously? What do we do for graphite? Well, we can produce graphite. Graphite only requires coal and water, I believe. So we could certainly do that. We have 1,000 coal. Ooh. Let's go ahead and turn off silicon production for now. We have, what, 1,000? That's enough silicon for now. Wait, how much silicon do we have? Oh, there's just 1K in the vault as well, so that's good. That's good. So let's start running some more ideas for coal. We need graphite in order to continue with my plan, my master plan. Well, we could set up a bunch of liquid containers instead. No? Well, let me do that, huh? Let's cancel and then put a bunch of liquid containers in each of these places. I just really don't want to have to make graphite. It's a little inconvenient to make, not gonna lie. I say inconvenient, I mean it's inconvenient like right this moment. It's not just like terribly inconvenient. I don't want to deal with it. Now, you're making water. Good job. Let's give you another impulse pump here. Come on. Alright, fine. We'll give you a rotary pump. And then another impulse pump here. And an impulse pump here. And that should be sufficient for a bit. And then let's build a meltdown. We don't have any graphite. That's where all the graphite went. It went to the meltdowns. That makes sense. That makes sense. If I remember correctly, I don't want to make graphite. I could start sending it from... Salt Flats. I have enough. So we'll go to Salt Flats. And we'll start sending graphite from here. Good. should be getting sent to coastline. Yep. It's annoying. But it is what it is. And yeah, that should start sending very soon. And I mean, we're good because the automatic calculations for coastline is saying that it's going to survives 14 plus out of 14 waves. So realistically, we could actually just leave coastline alone and it will survive because the game has already decided that it will survive. But for the sake of the stream, for the sake of the hangout, I assumed that it would be a bit more fun if we were kind of looking over everything together. So right now, we are just waiting for the graphite in the nucleus here to get up to 21,000. Once it hits 21,000, it'll start backing up. Once it starts backing up, it's going to start sending the extra or the excess into that launch pad. That way we can start sending it over to coastline. And then coastline will have more graphite and we can start building our defenses up again. Unfortunately, this is kind of the end game strat, is just having a ton of launch pads that are constantly sending resources to whatever bases that you're attacking with. That, at least that's the way I've kind of understood the end game for Mindistry levels, is you don't even gather resources at the final levels. You literally just start sending resources to your end game levels. At least, again, that's what I've heard. And as you can see, the graphite is now at 21,000, and now it is sending it over here, this underflow gate, highlight it, that underflow gate got blocked on the left and blocked on the right, so now it's sending things straight down. So now, if we were to go back to coastline, we're going to have a couple hundred graphite to work with now, which is great, because now we can make another meltdown here in a second. Once we have enough graphite, it'll pop up in a moment. But you know, how are you guys doing? I've been doing pretty good personally. I had mentioned did I mention Christmas? No, it was snow. The snowstorm up here in the Northeast. The snowstorm, it wasn't as bad as a lot of other years, but I'll say, like, it also wasn't as mild as everything else. It's been very mild as far as the cold, as far as the snow all year. We're already in January, and we're just now getting a ton of snow. I just don't get it. It's rather annoying, if I do say so myself. Alright, let's skip ahead a little bit. 6 enemies attacking. Bunch of boats. Those are some fast boats. And then land units? See, these guys, those are land units. They're going to take forever to get here because they have to go up and around and around and around and around. But the boats can just go straight there. I don't understand why they would spawn land units. That's just so time consuming. Could spawn our own units. That could be fun. How are we doing on power? Double check everything. We're still at plus 9.4, 9.3k, and we have 932,000 power saved up. Good grief. That's quite good. Oh no! That's not good. We're out of titanium. That's not good at all. We need titanium. And we need it, like, now. Where is there a good amount of titanium? Right there. I'm actually going to pause it. I don't like pausing. Oh, no, we're out of titanium, so I can't do that. Ooh, okay. We're going to start sending titanium from Salt Flats, because we need that fast. There we go. Hook this up here to the mainframe. It's pulling directly from this bottom area here. it'll just start lighting everything up. But first, it has to be connected to power. There we go. Now, launch cooldown, and then all 3 of them will probably end up launching around the same time. And then we'll have titanium. We have to have titanium for the cryofluid generators. If we don't have enough cryofluid, all of our generators, doesn't matter what kind they are just going to shut down, except for the ones that don't require coolant. Those are the only ones that will not shut down. So we do not want to lose that. We can't lose that, otherwise we lose our power source. So there we go. We got titanium again. Oh no. These things are heating up. Or they're going to start heating up here soon. Ooh, it's getting really close. Whew. Alright, we cut that awfully close, but we made it. So we're good now. We're good now. Whew. Alright, let's skip on to wave 20. Guardian approaching in 10 waves. So, again, anybody who doesn't play Mindistry, a Guardian is basically the big health bar mob, or the big health bar enemy. Their whole thing is they are supposed to just completely annihilate all your defenses. And they often can and do. So now that I mention it, we are actually going to start building some physical defenses. We're going to start with plastium, or like that. And thankfully I have my little guys helping me, because we certainly need it. Then we're going to build surge walls. Then we're going to build thorium walls. And then we're going to do plastium walls again. Each of these have their own kind of individual strengths. They're good at one thing or another. And then we're going to do a large titanium wall set. And then I changed my mind on something. We're actually going to remove this first layer of oh no, can't do that. Oh, we're out of titanium. Oh, that's right. That was one of our problems, was we didn't have enough titanium, and I'm here making titanium walls. How silly of me. All right, now we just have to wait a second till we get a little bit more titanium, and then everything will pop back in again. No, I can't risk that. Let's cancel. Turn these into surge walls. Surge walls are great anyway. Turn those into surge walls, and then we're going to get rid of these additional ones here. We can turn these into surge walls. Alright. Come on, come on. No, and no. And then we're going to get rid of the rest of these, and we're going to put in something that I find to be extraordinarily useful, and thankfully we have the power to build it, is the menders. What they do is repair HP on walls. Now we have our polys, and they're great, but we really want to have more. Now we gotta wait for a little bit more titanium. Once we do that, we can start connecting large power nodes. I'll do that. And now every one of them should be powered. So now we're good. As far as I know, that's basically an almost indestructible wall. I think one of the only things that can make it better is turning this other disproportionate to surge walls. They have 3,680 health, which is insane now that I'm looking at it. Like, nothing is getting past these walls. Ooh, assuming I can get all the way there. Do I have enough? Whew, I almost didn't have enough there. Alright, we're doing good, though. We only have 8 more waves. Just texting my mom. Alright. Let's blast through the rest of these. Alright. Let's see. How can I fix this problem? So let's get you there. And then let's get... I can't do another meltdown, can I? There's not a lot of these that... we don't have enough surge ally for it anymore. Drat. Drat, drat, drat. Is there anything that doesn't take power? That doesn't take, like... It doesn't take ammo. That's one of the reasons I like Meltdown so much, is it doesn't take ammo. It just purely takes power and water. It doesn't have any ammo attached to it. And I like that a lot. I think at this point we'll just set up a bunch of Lancers. Which don't really need power. Or they don't need water, but they can take it. Alright. So that's not good. That's another thing, is the flying guys are just flying straight over our battle line. Oof. That's not good. What do we have that we can attack in the sky? We have our duos, but those aren't very powerful, all things considered. Unfortunately, Lancers can't do that. What about a Cyclone? Cyclone can fire Metaglass, Plastium, and it's able to hit ground and air targets. Does it take any power? It doesn't. And it can use Blast Compound. That's great. That's actually really great. Let's do that. I've never really used these very much, so this is going to be fun. We can use Blast Compound. Send it on down. And then we can set up a bunch of these, I think. It uses titanium to build. Okay. Does it take any water? It can. Okay. So let's set that up. You can take water or cryo fluid. Let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, not quite 6. My titanium again. I need more titanium. I'll just have to wait until the next shipment, I guess. I'll use it very slow. Oh, wait. I can use armored conveyors to start getting everything set up at least. That's good. Armored conveyors, interestingly, don't take the same resources as regular titanium conveyors. And that's surprising to me as somebody who kind of comes from playing upgrade games like Minecraft. So we can just use that, go across and go down. Good. We're still waiting for more titanium. Good. Now let's actually put a bunch of junctions on here. That way there's a little bit of storage, because junctions hold items for some reason. Like, I don't know kind of what the motivation was for that, but they can like store items for some reason, which is cool. I mean, it works. Now let's set up a cryofluid system. So we're gonna need an impulse pump. Then cryofluid mixer and a cryofluid mixer, and then those have to have titanium as well. I just can't get away from titanium, can I? Alright, these lancers aren't going to do anything to anything that can get past anyway, so we'll just remove those. And I'm sorry, duos, you need to go as well. If anything is able to get past that wall, there's not a whole lot you're going to be able to do anyway. Now, let's set up titanium. I just do not have enough titanium around here, man. Let's set up plastium belts. There we go. Now that's all powered. Now we can good. Good. All right, now we just start sending over. Down, 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 down. That should do it. Cryofluid for all. Wonderful. All right. Now we should be mostly set. And then the meltdowns up here will protect the core directly. These ones will protect from the bottom. And these will protect from anything big that's coming on the right. And yes, all of them might be necessary, in case you're wondering. All right, well, we got 26 out of 30. We're doing good so far. 12 enemies. And here comes a big mass of them. Well, small mass of them. And destroy, destroy, destroy. Now, where are the rest of them coming from? They're ground troops again? It's a little faster than I was anticipating, but it's still going to take them forever to get here. In the meantime, why don't you guys let me know what kind of content you think would be interesting for the channel. Give me a heads up in the comments. And, you know, if you're kind of interested in what I might get done in the future, go ahead and hit the bell icon and subscribe. That way you can find out whenever I stream or upload a video. And also, I'm kind of curious if anybody who watches my channel, kind of my demographic, if you'd be interested in video content, so like clipped short form content for things, stuff that's similar to like TikTok's short form content, or if you'd be more interested in something like regular like 15-minute YouTube videos, tutorials, or just like things talking about how my Mindistry things are going or how different games are going, or if you'd be more interested in things like live streams consistently, kind of like what I've been doing. And I say consistently, it hasn't really been that consistent, and I freely admit that. Ooh, 3. And they're all flying. Here we go. Get excited. Wow, that was anticlimactic. Guardian approaching in 2 waves. Ooh, that's a big air attack. And I say big, I mean like it's a big ship. Are those 2 ships or 1 ship? I can't tell. I will say I kind of like this map. There's a lot of water everywhere, though. Alright. Duos, back here. Or not duos, polys, back here. That has been eliminated. Eliminated! Alright. We gotta defeat 2 more waves, and then this sector is ours. Round and round we go. And here comes the gunships. Man, never even got close to our little machine guns over there. And then we have our boats that are coming to fight us. Come at us, boats. We can take it. We can take it. And zap. Gotta love that. Alright, cool. We are now on to the final round, which will include a Guardian. And a total of 12 enemies, one of them being a Guardian. So we have a couple boats coming by, and then we have a bunch of ground units that are coming by land again. So, something I didn't realize when I first started playing Mindistry is a lot of the ground boss guardians are actually naval units for some reason. And at least that's the way I'm understanding it. I could be just crazy and not understand something, but I think they're naval units, which kind of makes me, it kind of throws me for a loop, so to speak. Well, there's 5 of them firing all at once. Okay, come on, come on. Fire, fire, fire. Good, good. Alright, and then... Oh, no. Their recharge is going to be too slow. Alright, guys, come on. Come on. Fire again. Good, 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 good. Good job, good job. Alright, rebuild, rebuild, rebuild. Good job, Polys. Good, good, good. Good job, good job. Well done, everybody. Now we just have what I assume is the big wave. Was that the Guardian? Oh, we took out the Guardian. Okay, I thought the Guardian was going to be coming by on the ground wave. That isn't to say that these guys are going to be pushovers, but they're not going to be as hard as that Guardian, I don't think. What we got is another bunch of these guys. I think all the Lancers alone could probably take those out. And just like that, the sector is ours. All this now belongs to us. For now. And I say for now because if you go over here to the map, there is another place that is able to attack us. But we could go over there and take it out. But then there's probably another enemy base that can take it back. And such is the game of Mindistry. Alright, so thank you everybody so much for coming by today. Anybody who showed up, appreciate you. Hope you all have a wonderful night. And from the Salt Flats, this is me saying good night.